gatang ta tindes je chi rangi longje le ya karisure neba mambi nga yarwa rangi longje rangi suda rangi sula tire chi neba majune rangi longje ani khangimda jidala ani karisure neba mambi yungu yarwa wadisi yarda se jida shinga yuwa ina shinga la se sera dinde tani loto meba suya yari se chike gyu yari di jamne che se ta serwata tini timba tenya yarwa wala wati ne sigari menju chunye tse ani ti kari che vere sine ti ta tiga ti chunya di kari sure gyula tenya chungaris gyu meba yungi yamarwa ta gyu ti kari resina ani ta rangi damji masunga tang chujum suishindu masunga teni lengi bagi ani chunja di rangla khuwa res lengi bagi jebuti tadi lengi bas ngara rangi lengi basabati di jebuti ani rangi longju ki tendu mimba res ani di sigari chasa lengi chunja rangla khuwa is.
Okay, verse number 36. When the crops in our fields are continuously plague, right? Plague by drift, draft, flood, and hailstorm, insect, and force. So it says if you have a field, then you can. This is the right way. So otherwise, it doesn't mean you don't have to have a field. So, for instance, if someone harms to your house, any of your possessions, sometimes that can be your body. So sometimes it harms to your body. And your possession, any possession, you can apply to any possessions. So when you lose that kind of possessions, and if someone harms to your house, you like they destroy or like your houses, your house. So that kind of problems, or that kind of suffering. So you can imagine that kind of suffering. So then again, also these are happening to us because of some causes and conditions we have created in the past life. So then when we look for those causes and conditions, so these causes and conditions could be here, if you look at the second line of this verse, in the verse number 36, till now we have failed to honor our pledges, right? Pledges. So like samaya, so like vows. So because of we broke that kind of vows and like commitments, then that kind of results actually are happening on that kind of physical form, like houses, and sometimes it could be your body. So you receive sufferings through your bodies. So that is there are some causes, and that because of that causes, that we are experiencing this kind of moment at that time.
Damji chudim chushima sumta damji da chudim chushima masune ni di devle silabra oti insa damji senate lama dang damji shya pama dang damji shya oti da sadala magi damji shya pama gi damji shya oti ni damji shya te dimbre ani chudim shya te rangi khalambe chudim 아니 그나 개인이 동바야리 추dum야리 아니 장주심에 추dum야리 나기 추dum야리 봐 추dum도 아니 추시도 마음에 아니 레디 온기 제브레스 제자 안데 추dum 추시 마음에 랭에 춘자 이 랭에 버티 다 춘자 배시야버리 춘자기 가르스는 제기를 봐 틸레서부터 제기를 봐 이나시 되게 랭에 버티 가르 제기하시는 수수 디지지에 그래 디지지에 아니 랑강에 karasura ramilla debutil kami chenje tiyarba rangi tiji pache oti yesata lengi suja rang khoi tinja suja da lengi ti leg debut rang khora res geta.
So in Tibetan the verses is a tamzik timna, tamzik and sutim. Tamzik is like samaya. They translate as samaya, I think in English. That is naturally a Sanskrit word, right? And samaya means like samaya, right? Samaya. So that is a special kind of relationship. We establish a special relationship with like certain people. For instance, your teacher. So we have a really special, unique relationship with our teacher. If you break that kind of relation, that is actually breaking a samaya, something is samaya. I think this is samaya. And also we have special relationship with your parents. And so if you break that, if you cross that line of that the relationship, that is actually breaking samaya with your the parents, and also similar like the teacher, and there's so many samaya could be. So then the tsutum is like a morality. The morality means like we took like a commitment. We take commitment, and we undertake certain type of vows and also a commitment sometimes. So that commitment would be like a bodhisattva commitment and ragish commitments and tantric commitments. If you break that kind of commitment, then again we create like bad karma. So there are two types of like the samaya and the moralities. Okay, samaya is some certain type of relation between like certain type of people, and the morality is like we are willingly undertaking some kind of commitments or the vows. If you break those two, the qualities and the entities, this kind of thing, then we generate bad karmas, or that karma that can lead into like a difficult situation. So this kind of, and also, so because of that, we have done that kind of bad karma, we have created that kind of karma. So that's why we are having this kind of difficulty in this moment. And the language in Tibetan is language right? So this is the wheel of sharp weapon returning for several of us from wrong we have done. So again, when we say that kind of the negative karma is like a weapon. So weapon is actually designed to destroy, designed to cut off like some like objects, right? Similar like then the bad karma is like a weapon. It actually cuts off, it destroys our happiness. So that's why we took this kind of like analogies with the bad karma.
That is the Jude Zambani Karasure. Or the Tindesivata, Kunjo Sowata, Kujogi Karasure, Soatamni, and Kunjogi Karasure. Rona Masu Ser within the Yungurva. Chi Rangi, Gujat in the Yunduzamba, and Kunjogi Trust. Kunjola never mindu, Kunjola Soatan, Kunjola never mindu, Sarati, Yungurva. What is it? Say never. Until Rangi Cheddar Rangi Machuma is just a Chena, Kunjola Soataway, Kunjola never mindu, Kunjola Chis, Satin the Yungurva, Kunjola Chawamindu, Kunjola never mindu, or teacher. Sagyo Jeliya, or this is just to get Rangat Garrison, a Kujo, Kujogi, Mandula Kanita Mari, the Narangu Machum Reyes, the Nachu, and the Chumaya, the Detrasuna, Gamma Tante Community Terracan, Kangan Mambusubia, Kunjola Kata, Kunjola Never Mindus, Kunjola Mindus Jerina. Or to see is a Karasure never Sagerba, or to su Jera never Rangi Machum Tata Janjarva Rangu Machuma Yesa Rangi Rania Tigang the Cheverba. Santi Samu Dansuna Rana Gami Chunayare. Kana di Shindashi Chute Samutana Rana Gami Chunayare. Tingarang Majum Resha Sam Jevena Gami Chunayare. Shindaji Nani Duse Meva Surichi Jevena. Shindaji Nani Dusa Surichi Jevena. Kami mampu ceria, sendirian. Tiada jas sampai ceria ini mau benar rangi le jejola, le nyemba ceri yapu yung itu sam, le sampu jegu tu nyemba mandu na, deputi sampu tu na tu jawa sampu jegu ya, tidak kumar tidak yung dia. Odi san, tu sampu depan kau di odi
So the breaking like a special relationship with like a certain people. One example you can take is like we said when we make a prayer to three jewels, to the Ratnas. So that seems like your prayer is not working. So it's not happening what you wish for, what you make a prayer for. So then at the moment we may think that the three jewels or gods or any source you're seeking for help, right? Seeking for help from, like any source, you may think like they might not have any compassion. They might not have compassion. They're not like powerful. They may not have that kind of powerful to help me. And so you come up with like all sort of like negative thoughts or like the mind towards that object, especially in Buddhism. So we may have generated that kind of negative thoughts towards three jewels, right? Three jewels. So then that is actually the breaking relationship with the three objects of three Ratnas. So then that actually creates a bad karma. So similar, so instead of we're looking at that when we make a prayer towards those objects, those holy objects. So we should not think that they are the one who do not have that kind of power to help us. So when we're looking like deeply, so whenever we are having this problem, so not working our prayer and sort of all kinds of things because of our own mental afflictions, we do have like all kinds of like bad karma because of that karma. So it's not working in a way we want, we wish. So we should not blame on the other. For instance, especially in this circle, we should not blame on three Ratnas, the jewels. So then we need to look inward, sort of like Muslim, because everything, whatever happening to you, and a negative aspect, everything is happening to you because of your own negative deeds. So we need to look inside. So we should not blame on others. So then we need to also at the same time we need to fix it within ourselves. So in the future, if you don't want to have that kind of similar kind of the situation, so we stop creating that kind of similar causes and condition for the future. So then if you do that, then actually it helps us to overcome our problems and overcome our negative karmas. Otherwise, if you blame on others, so you're never gonna burn the karma, and on top of that, we are actually creating another bad karma which can bring difficulties in the future. So that's why we should look inward and we should accept whatever we have done, and we need to fix from inside. So we should not create that kind of similar causes condition that can bring in the future. So if we do that, then we are able to overcome our problems, and also we can able to overcome all the causes and conditions for that kind of the difficulties in the future.
Just Kunjo Sung said the Sanjay Kunjo, the member Chevatavi, member Chevati, Nazati, Tane Jundo, Nazati, Jaya, Taxi Garito, Nazati, Tawati, Gane Jundo, this Kangate, Jenny, member Chevati, the Haguerva, the Che. Ani Joe Kunjo, the member Chevati, they shall be made the Tumbi in Chevy. Tati made it to me just a made it Marcena net Marba. That's so the Chokunjo said the मैं तो दवाती छुकुंजोती मेरे छुकुंजोती मैं भी नेबती आनंदु नेबचे संजय दी मैं बच्चे तब चीज़ शेदी मैं तब चीज़ आनंदु की तब मैं दी मासना नहीं ले टग मरवा जैसा मैं दी मासे बच्चे तू से ना अनि आनंदु लगाने चाहिए रवा मैं से सुना अनि राल दिगी हुई रवा जैसा पर मैं मासे मैं दी अनि दी छुकुंजोती मैं तभी इम्परे इरुकुंजोती नेयो तभी इम्परे नेयो यापुती की मैं करते कुगी में नेवाती की संपत्ति तुम्हारा करचे कुगी में यो बचियाती करचे कुगी में तीची गई अरबा तीने चुस्म में नेयो यापुती चे मैं बस सुनते जोन सुना नहीं सुसुगी नेले थगर बा जैसा तीता लावा इंचे जैसा मनांदु की 그래서 그래 아난도 뒤에 야부자 마세베 냐바임 버다디 메다부티 산제 메디 제셔바 아니 메들 펜베 메디 나셔바 랍자르 산제 랍자드 나셔라 랍자디다 제담 니튜베레 리제브라 제바 인산이 라레 그래서 그래 कांग्रेस ठीक है रबा और ये सदा संजय दांची डाले तीजा में बरे जो तिरांगी मरे नौती इंसान रांगी साबे जेबुती रांग में भी बरे जैसा ती समुदान गुरेस ती समुदान समुद्री तीने युद्ध जब समुद्र वही तांगुरेस लेंगे तो जरांग रखवाते रंग समुदान गुरेस ले
So that's why so we need to establish special relationship with the three Ratnas, the jewels, the three jewels. So the special attitude, we need to establish special attitude towards three Ratnas. That attitude should be something like that. So when we realize, when we know about Buddha, so Buddha is like a physician. So we need to look him as a physician. So physicians, the work of the physician is to give the right prescription to the patient. Right? Similar like that, we need to look him as a physician. Okay. So then the physician, then he will he gave us like a dharma teaching and instruction how to overcome our problems and so forth. That is similar like a medicine. So he's describing like a really detail how to do practice, sort of like that. That is similar like the amount of doses and stuff like that. So we need to follow that instruction. So that means like if you wish to overcome your problem and your difficulty suffering, so we need to follow the instruction. So how we describe, so we need to follow exactly how he described to us, how he showed to us. If you follow that, then we will be able to overcome our problem and our difficulties and our suffering. So otherwise, if you replace the medicine with a poison, so it's not going to help. So poison actually harms us. Similar like that. So we should take the right dosage, sort of like right doses in the right time, sort of like. So then we need to follow that. And also the Sangha member. Okay, one of the Ratnas is like Sangha member. Sangha members, you should look at them as an assistant. Okay, like in the medical field, like a nurse. So that means the nurse, they actually helps patient, like providing like comfort and the medicine on the right time, sort of like that. So we need to take, we need to look towards our Sangha member as something like that. They assist, they help us to like on our like spiritual journey. So we need to have that kind of special attitude towards through Ratnas. If you look at that kind of matter, that kind of functionality. So then there's no way we can blame on them. So like this, in order to like overcome our suffering and our difficulties, is totally depend on us. So we need to follow. So we need to look Buddha is a physician, and we need to take the dosage, and we need to follow the dosage, or similar like that. We need to follow his instruction on the right way. So if you're able to do that, then we will be able to overcome our problems. So when we look at that kind of measure, then there's no way we can blame on them. So there's nothing to do with our problem is nothing to do with them. So this is totally on your side. So you are the one who should take all responsibility for your difficulties. And if you wish to overcome, so you need to take full responsibility to overcome that kind of thing. We cannot blame on that in that aspect. So that's why when we have that kind of situation, we need to look that kind of aspect. So then it helps us to reduce or help us to prevent and generating negative thoughts towards the objects.
That 동네 공시야. 다들 동네 공시. 다들 강에 태인데야 동네 공이야. 그래서는 라라지 랑글롱주 등도 지 강에만 붙 가서 그래. 야 롱주 등도 다 그래서 그래. 고자만 붙지 네번만 붙지 중수나 랑게 롱주 그때도 네번만 붙지 중하나 신선제 신기 롱주 그때도 아 랑을 중하는 시 선제파도 매버리 선제파도 매버도 소리 랑을 중하는 시 랑게 롱주 그때도 네번 중하는 시 선제 신을 네번 중파도 매버야 봐 어두서 상로다네 아니 되게 아 가르수래 되게 기대에 탐대 년디 그쳐버셔 나로 중요하게 경년디 그쳐버셔 시안을 된데 때다도 강에 민중하셔 제베는 나는 접다 동네란도 공부 말이지 경년람도 키워시게 될 경년람도 키워 경년버디 라로 중앙나 신지 신달에 강에 마무리지 이 중다다 이 중앙에 다 쳐버려왔지 중앙에 있는 강에만 붙이 테리부터 삼다 아니 시야를 강에 쳐야 되겠지 년디 그쳐버셔 현달에 뒤에도 강에 중앙쇼세 아 뭐는 게 다디지 다 동네 공부에는 아니 아 랑기 시야를 중요한 강에 강가 왜 나버려 붙이 남발을 줄랑 아 랑기 더 줄랑 랑기 교화다 지 상불에 강제 샤브트죠. 가로 넘버 8단 샤라야 니강에 가르수래. 나 디기 가르수 나 디기 토베면 받지. 어떻게 딘디진 동네 공내 디공들이 공주리. 다단지 동네 딘데 공만에 그이나 나 신달에 디데를 강에 무조쇼 당디 그르초쇼 제베 너는 잡이네. Samsung Deveres. Kang Deveres Samsung Jumere, Samsung Bulayam Jumere. Or the Yasa Kang to Sutay the Bed Chujina Yamamabuji. We are Kangeti, Kangeti Tay the Church at Jingiari, Kangeti Tay the Yamaja Jingiari. 강에 마테비제 이거제 대들도 좀 맞추면지 아니 냠내미 미든 시알랭이 지게야네 그러나 강에 제인도 시알라 삼다네 시알랭이 지게야인 거리 아니 그러나 강에 제인도 좀 박강에디 랭님베 대부인 바하고네 레 삼지야 마음바나 이 랭님 비르비에 산선 랭님 바빠야 레 삼불 주야 어떻게 제사 강에 체도 삼단신 강에 시럽 그래서 만부지바 어디 그래서 체 삼삼 다야고 그거 만부되기야래 어디에서 어디서
So then again, so after that we need to do, as usual, we need to do the online practice, and taking and giving practice. So taking and giving practice again. So for instance, if you have some the particular problem and difficulty, suffering, still like related to your house and your body, anything. So then again we need to do the Dharma practice. So Dharma practice again, which remind us, he said, taking all the similar problems, including all the difficult suffering of the sentient beings in like smoky color, the light, and bring it up into you and enter into you. Then send out. When you send out, then your virtues and your wealth and everything in like the white light, white light, and going out and give it to them. So when you take upon all the problems and the difficulties and sufferings of the sentient being, that is actually love, right? The compassion. So then you're giving away, that is love. So we should go through that kind of explanation. And then if you're not able to do the Dharma practice, again you can make a prayer. So you say that, so then I wish nobody will experience that kind of difficulties, that kind of problems, and that kind of suffering. So you can imagine that and wish them to have happiness, replace that kind of problem with their happiness. So you can imagine that you can make a prayer for them, at least if you're not able to do the Dharma practice. Okay? So then, again, we say, so then 이거도 가르쳐 주겠습니다. 돈이 비딩 하면 제시로 디슈디를 가르쳐 주는 직송도.
나디에 셰리 강에도 산다. 신다 강에 좀 되냐지 그 주베쇼 신다를 되다 보면 좋아쇼. 디디스. 디슈디를 직송도 가르쳐 주. 제가 강에 강에 chen 아니 그래서 샤밍이 집지야다 아니 내 상부로 저야 랭이 버드 티 랭이 버드 덮지야 근데
So then so the difficulties and the suffering, as a practitioner. So when we suffer, okay, when we have difficulties, then the practitioner, the sort of like a good practitioner, okay, good practitioner, they take that that moment or that opportunity as really they consider their suffering and their difficulties as the precious opportunity. They consider them as they have been gaining the precious opportunity. So then they can apply practice. They can do practice if they have problems, if they have difficulties. So then they will actually kind of like rejoicing, kind of like enjoying kind of suffering, sort of like So so then they think there is right moment, right time to do their practice. So still, as an ordinary person, so like us, so still we can turn that moment, difficult moment, into like a positive moment or good moment. We say, first let's think about like, so when we have a problem, there are some good qualities of your suffering. So for instance, one day you can think of like it is actually helping you to burn the bad karmas. Okay, this is burn your bad karmas. So then so for us as a regular person, so if we have a really nice life and a happy life, like really we have like really like a leisure kind of moment, we tend to forget the Dharma practice. So we never think of like a Dharma practice because of our suffering. So that actually suffering encourages us to do the positive actions, positive deeds to help us to create some kind of positive karma. So and also so the suffering help us to understand or appreciate the others' difficulties, others' pain, others' suffering. So otherwise, if you are not experiencing suffering at this moment, so we cannot empathize, we cannot understand the sufferings of others. And also the suffering help us to understand the better understand about other feeling, other pain. So that way, so we are really easy to develop compassion, love and compassion towards others. So this is the best quality of your mind you can generate, like best quality of mind you can generate. So that's why. So then when we have a problem, when we have a difficulties, so actually we can look from like a positive side instead of like getting depressed and so on and so forth. We can look from the brighter side of that, the suffering. So you can think of like it's burning your karma, bad karma, and also it's helping you to become a better person. So because of that situation, because of that experience, you don't want to have that kind of similar experience in the future. In order to prevent that, you're creating like a better the positive causes. You're starting to abandon or stopping creating bad karma, which brings difficulties in the future. Actually, it makes you a better person, and also it helps you to understand the better love and compassion, about the love and compassion.
다 단위 단지 단위 단지가 소상의 자스 다디 삼로디 단차니 다 신제니 단디다 아니 추중에서 봐 추심도 순근이 삼사르지 어디리 장어리 자스 추심도 손에 자스 야르지
So then the verse number 36 and the verse number 36, hereafter let's keep all our moral vows pure, right? So yeah, so in order to overcome your difficulties and in order to bring your happiness, so then you're making a sort of like commitment here. Hereafter let's keep all our moral vows pure.
다드네 답자와들이 내가 쟁라 저게 풍배치 진다 군조 주베 마체베 랭에 춘자라는 거이스 단 너가 제일 스페는 너는 아니 쳐르든가 너가 제세데 너다 농비 쳐르든가 세데 너가 제세데 너는 쳐르든가 너베다 너바나무스 제 다양한 농지 쳐르든 대리야 너가 진시다 저게 풍번했어 저 내가 나시지 마중에 가시 라니 너무 주소 쳐르드네 총기보 다 총자야 아니 지기 신가들이야 다 가르치네 너는 주지 친구진들 딘데네 아니 디체도 랭구 근데 지야 되시야리 저르드네 디 조바디 야기 체도 랭구를 지체 제네야 아니 지정 배장 총 벌시지 딱 총장이 있네요 총이 된다를 배 시라를 매주 제네요 아니 총이 장자요 다 가르치네지 어디 총이 벌시 중에 탈지야 매바 조배 풍벌이 주바 마도 치면서 조배 풍바스 풍배제스다 진지 뭐다 농지 되네 다지 총 개발해서 갈 레가지 좀 장그려 봐 레가 장네 레가 가제당네 지 랑기 장네 심마 중에 제 나네 총로서 그래도 수배 마마마 그래도야 데스 풍배치 딱 삼가르당 그랬으나 어디리
So then verse number 37, when we are poor yet are filled with much greed and desire, right? so like the anyway, so then because of your desire, because of your greed, right, for like a position and wealth, so then we start to doing like a business, sort of like basically take an example of a business, okay, business. So then we try to like have a good business, sort of like good business, and we use all kinds of methods to establish a business, okay, business. So then every method and whatever you do, it seems like it's not working. It seems like so still you're losing your business. So that kind of situation. If you have that kind of situation, so then that kind of situation, then you do this practice, let me say this practice. So yeah, let me give an example of a business. Okay, so you're losing a business, no matter what you do. If you lose that business, so then we have a problem, we have difficulties. At that moment, then we need to do this kind of practice.
That's some karchi tanguresina, karcheveresina, that and the tigiti. Rana Duyati, Sonda, Joba Dugiyari, the Jovanashi, Rangi, Lega Chigari, Jova Yagichito, Lega Chigari, Lega Jenia Majuna, Karcheveresina, Chinda, Kunjo Cheva Majebes, and Karcheveresina, Yanonga Maj, Senje, Yanonga Chimba Matambatan, Kunjo Cheva Majebe, Diris Jivre, Karasure, Chinda, Kunjo Chiva Majebe, Langatanja, Lang in the Tranjatarana Quaris.
So, if you are not succeed in your business, right, your business and also acquiring, you will not succeed in acquiring, obtaining any wealth, okay, as well, right? There is developing is wealth, okay? So, wealth, then there is a result of, so if you look at the verse, they says, till now we have been miser, reluctant to share, I don't know, the offering we have made to the three Jews were meager. Anyway, so here in Tibetan it says like a Jin the Chova, means like there are two kinds of like because of there are two causes. Okay, the two causes makes us like a poor, sort of like poor, and like really difficult to obtain wealth, sort of like. So there are two causes: lack of generosity, practice of generosity, and lack of offering to three jewels. Okay, jinda kunchoba, jimba is like offering. So the generosity, practice of generosity, giving, okay, giving, practice of giving. So giving, and that is actually giving to your lower person, sort of like lower person, or like the beggar, sort of like giving it to beggar. So then the offering means like offering it to higher being, higher than you, like higher being. So that could be three jewels. There are two types of giving, okay? Giving to lower person, giving to higher person, sort of like person. Person. So lack of those two practice, lack of like giving away to the beggar, and also lack of making offering to the three ratnas. So because of that two causes, because of the two conditions, then it makes us really difficult to acquire the wealth in this life.
Nyenosene sasenje kanye teba ji odusula nonju putavata segi pungteba soba dusula ya chimba matamba chikche ani kunjo le choba da kunjo le choba cherba choba lo soba teni mejeba shibar tamnes ma shibado ji rang longje del tham jete ni dambuti kange chimbuji nonju saya kange chimbuji ke yasa sa chedul nonju di rangi nonju menu beche senagi ongi ni jesa shengi karsa nebache shengi nebache na shetan le subaki Rag Loncho got to Sena Loncho Machupice, Tamashibato Pet, Tamdo Sinjite, teachers Tigi, Lene Tunjatirana Covaris, Kunjo Chobaso, Tene Mejiba, Shiber Tane Deve, Lene Tunjarana Covaris. What is as Sena said it, Rang Loncho di Ani Shala Garasure. Shala surve, Shala Tonala, Tom Metroban Dingy Yerbata, tele sena sigere nongju shenga chimi karsure chibala karsure shenga tongala tongme pevel jinga lotere tas chane chashingo undi rangi longju dini shenga tongme niba chashingo undi jinga tele sena sigere ta kanje sena ge undi oda cheba majeba odigi lenye sunjaralo kora yeche
So here this is giving away, right? Giving away like two different beings, higher beings and lower beings. Yeah. So these are the practice of generosity. So lack of practice of generosity, then we tend to experience this kind of problem in this moment, right? So then so make us like something is make us really like stop and practicing that kind of giving the practice of generosity. That is actually miser, right? Miserness, okay? Miserness actually prevent us to go forward and do this kind of practices. So miserness means that so when we look at our wealth, our positions, so then in the beginning we tend to acquire and collect or obtain those material objects and wealth through like negatively. So that so in order to obtain this kind of material objects, we do like all kinds of bad things in order to bring them under your position, right? So negative, we acquire them in negative, understand? In the middle, so when we have that, once we have that kind of like a wealth, then we tend to cling on that the wealth, because so once we obtain that kind of wealth, then so you always have a fear, so losing that wealth. Then if you see there's a possible kind of like a danger to lose that kind of wealth, then you tend to retaliate, right, towards any person who is like person who might harm your wealth. Then we have like hatred, So to make it like a bigger and to make it like more wealth, sort of like then we out of your attachment, you tend to like increase your wealth all the time. So all of them are like a negative thoughts, right? Constantly, once we have from the beginning, we obtain all the wealth through like our negative thoughts, right? Then when we have that, constantly we are having negative attitude towards that object, right? So then because of that miserness, we are not ready, we are not happy to share that kind of material with others, someone who really needs that kind of help. So we just reject, we don't think of their so something we can do about their difficulties, their suffering, right? To overcome their suffering. So then that is actually that we are not able to do, we are not able to go forward and provide that kind of help to them because of our miserness. So that's why. So the miserness is something it really keeps us to use our help to other.
Oh, that jimbasya ngaramu tanda longji chembe ya to kangal longji siati jibe de imbre jibe longji tingi de jimbasya de jachim bushibu imbre sanje jumde de 아니 제세기 주버지도 지발을 시부 러비야리 짐발을 러바 다시 준대들이 짐바다야 전에 부다 부모 충만다 너다나지 신다다 부대발 부다 충만되발 충만다 너르되발 너다 지 거리내다 제가 마음을 봐도 짐벌을 가르쳐 그래. 예세를 줄에나네. 짐벌을 놓려야지 친구시부 개 친구시부 짓는 게 그래. 지다 짐벌 써야 돼. 저도 짐벌 써야 돼. 아니 여러분들 많이 양롱을 신제강에 태부터 소리 많이 짓다야 돼. 짐벌 써야 돼. 야구조를 쳐박해야 돼. 짐배나는 둘이 짐벌 써야 돼. 저서 짐벌을 아니 상승기 짐벌 써야지. 취기 짐벌 잠배 짐벌 민지백절 짐벌 짐벌 해야 돼. 디나네 단다 논주 세야지 또 상승기 짐벌 논주 세야지 디리 또 상승기 짐벌 세야지. 어디 예상 나라저 논주 간가 말 짐배 대비인 버리. 디에서 가르소래. 먼저 고반도 비하고 또 질래. 먼저 제가 롱주 먼저 아니 류먼저 나 코랑 먼저 제 먼저 고반도 써야 돼. 먼저 쓰면 되는 짐배는 롱주 먼저 써야 돼. 짐벌 때는 두배인 버리.
So on the other hand, so the practice of generosity. Okay, practice of generosity is really profound, and it is necessary for your spiritual journey. You understand? That is really really obvious. You know, if you look at the life story of Buddha. So in Jataka tells, life story of Buddha. So then when he was on the path. So many of his practice, many of his deeds are actually related to the practice of generosity, right? Generosity. So then, in terms of like the generosity, practice of generosity, he gave away even his wife and kids and everything, you know, just to bring some kind of help to for others, right? For others. So then in terms of our own practice, you know, practice of generosity is really necessary and a really profound practice. And also, so when we look, for the supreme rebirth, okay, when we talk about so first, you know, generosity, okay, practice of generosity, there are 4 types of generosities. So like giving your material possessions, that is one type of the generosity, practice of generosity. Giving protection, you know, protection to others, okay, from like a fear situation. So that is also considered as a generosity. And giving dharma, you know, dharma teaching. So those are actually the practice of generosity. And also giving love, that is also the practice of generosity. So there are many types of practice you can do, like, so giving away material is like one of the practice, and also it's so when we look at the supreme rebirth, so right, supreme rebirth, there it requires and necessary for 3 different causes in order to obtain higher rebirth. Okay, so one of the causes of their higher rebirth is practice of generosity. So generosity. So we are aiming for better rebirth in the future. So better rebirth means like a better form, better physical form, and better good in like wealth. And we need like wealth in like in order to have a better life. We need to have wealth, and also we need like positive companies, like company like around us, like people, sort of like friends. So then the for your wealth, better wealth in the future is totally depend on the practice of generosity. So since we are aiming for better rebirth in the future, so then the practice of generosity is necessary to have a better rebirth in the future.
Yeah,
So then again, after that, again do the practice of the donor practice.
다들 말 동료분 이 진바세에들 아지 동료분들이 진바를 동료들이 진바를 양내를 두게 하래. 말지 수련야지 지 파당야지 잠바 공발에 두게래 봐. 잠배 냠내 두게래. 진배 냠내 두게래. 수련야지 이 니지 냠내 두 니지 공부해라 봐. 제사 니지 냠내 두게래. 디리. 다 제사 야 동네 공부해야
So in terms of this practice, let me say the practice of generosity, when you do tolerant practice, that can be the practice of generosity. So when you give away your virtues and your wealth and to other, that is actually the practice of generosity. And also when you're taking the sufferings of other, so that is also that can be the practice of generosity as well.
That is seneng wi jimba mata me ni devu je chebar bachasa dandara la seneng ngal rangi sena jeni jimba mata ya nyano le jimba mata ya kunjo le choba majeba ti teni rang longju tu sma ma se longju ya phya zan me ba longju se ji de ne ba chung ro ba ani jasa dati indegi rangi ti sene ongi jimba mata me mata ma le tene kane theba na shi sende pa tu me bala ngar jimba mata ba je sene ongi jimba mata me le tene kane thene pa tu me ba ji ya ba oti ya gi kane tu su dare ngala jimba mata me leng bati sene ongi leng ba sapati kane theba ti shenda gi sene ongi kane theya tu su kanga ne di ko che ba sho shenda la sene ongi ni kane ti to me che ba sho siman ke ya atati nganja ya to ne kumya shengi kane tu surangi jimba mata sene ongi jimba mata ora suba teni kane pat lenge ba sabe kane pat ne ba yo tu suye na ba chui na rangi ni ge ra chi ji tendu ti jeni ra chi ji ti me ba su samba che rangi pha ta ya ti rangi na le sambu che ba kar sambu che ba kan de ji ne o tu su le याने रंग लिए तो यार रोंचे तो यार कैसा तो यार तिगे पावे का बिना बत्ता अने समझे तो समझे थान जे यानी पे देवत जब सना लो सुबह तिंदे लेंग में दिले ट्रेने अने जी जो फिसुस बतन ते बच्चे सोनो संबर छे और दी दोनों कुंबले.
So then the tolerant practice, in terms of tolerant practice, so when you trap into that kind of situation, so seems like you're getting poor, stuff like you're getting poor, you're losing your wealth, and whatever situation may be. So you can imagine that. So how you feel at that moment. So then imagine there are many other sentient beings. Some are like having this kind of situation at this moment. And many of them already have that kind of seeds, that kind of possible kind of suffering, so seeds, we call seeds, right? Seeds. So then imagine that. So then when you have problems, so then imagine you're bringing all of whoever having this kind of experience, and also whoever has that kind of potential, and also seeds. So bring all of them into like a smoky color. Bring up into you, and imagine actually whatever you experience at that moment, you imagine you are actually taking up all the difficulties of all the sentient beings related to whatever you experience at that moment, and bringing all this negative energy, sort of like negative the karma, into like smoky and color and enters into your body. Actually that smoky color, smoky light also actually destroys your self-cherishing mind, self-cherishing thoughts. Then out of the, when it destroys them, self-cherishing thoughts, then send out your virtues, whatever you have, virtues. So there are like some occasion we have accumulated virtues many lifetimes. There are like little, even though it's little, there are some virtues. So you can bring all your virtues and this, pile it up and make it into like a color, a light color, white color, and send it out. Then it touches to all the sentient beings, all the sentient whoever having problems, whoever having suffering, and imagine that they're actually, when it touches that light, actually it takes away the sufferings, whatever they experience at that moment, and helps them to encounter with their own happiness, their happiness. Imagine they're enjoying your virtues, or the virtues at that moment. So you can do that. That is the common practice. If you're not able to do that, at least you can make a prayer that you wish them to free from that kind of suffering and wish them to encounter with their own happiness.
That is Bambaina, Kama Katitani, Lamsa, Sanjay Shingu Kameti, Samutaya, and Sanjay Shingu Kame Samutani, Kameti said to the Kandich and Jumano, sometimes Sambachiki, Kama Katitani, Sam Sambuchiki, and it is Chesuna. Ralas Kami Kadu Chesune, Simjay Shingil Lamsa, Simjay Shingi Kangete, and Simjay Shingi Kangete Senate, Sayag Tapkandich, carried to some sort of the Yungri, and Chesa, and Sam Sambutiki, Sam Sambutjasa, to Chavina, Kadina Sam Sambukia, Kangete to some Sambuki to her. Ral Tiji Chune Sam Sambachi Samtangiri. Ral Tiji Kalchune Kala Yabuji Sajuchune and Sinjay Shingi. Chi Kane Dustin, Sinjay Shella, Rani Page, Sell Yapolo Juju Banashi, Sinjay Shelle, say Sambul Juju shows. Say me pumba young shows. But Rakala Yabuchi said, Sam Sambani. Any color said you may need pong devote, Sim Japadu never hear. Yawata Yita Tundu said some tomo. Mina les Pabdu never hear. Just Karachi said, any Simjay Shangi, Kangiti. Suggestion of TWP, so a long juju may show some sort of melon of the job. Or just that. And Kadine Karasure. Kanach ten some juju, Kia Chumiri. Give juju some Sambaki, and it does chew without churches at the same sample sing at the Imbre. And when it Sambus Karasure, Umjab Beji, Coaching see get dead in your Google Mary. Sam Sambujuna. I choose at the team, but just today, young sometime Namshina, Ram coming gadgets has on the sensation Granny Sam Korea. And a sensation you can condensed and some sort of identity. Some Korea, what the name is just a Telelocum and Yabuyaris.
So, if you train in that way, your mind, sort of like dawn and practice, right? Dawn and practice. So whenever you have a problem, whenever you have a difficulty, suffering, so right away, so you just imagine of like others suffering, right? If you keep doing that, so then after a while, then it becomes habit to you, like it becomes really natural to you. So whenever you have experienced a single moment of like difficulties and suffering, then right away, instantly you can imagine, you can think, you can remember all the sentient beings. So you can. Then if you're having this kind of mind for a while, then after a while, so you cannot bear that kind of difficult sufferings of other sentient beings. Then you try to find a solution to overcome the sufferings of other sentient beings. Then from that on, so so your mind, your spiritual journey will be progress. It gets like, like getting better and better. You see. And also, and also, if you think of like when you have suffering, when you have difficulties, when you think of other suffering, other difficulties, then and actually what's that? 신다기 눈에 삼로 코르스나 아니 가르치기를 살아야
아니 삼로 코그레스 아니 비코스나 신기 눈에 세야디 그레스 진간 세지마르 세스
so sorry so then if you keep thinking of others sentient being, difficulties of other sentient being, then also that helps you to remember them while you are having a good time, sort of like you are having a leisure moment. So then, so for instance, when you have been thinking of other sentient beings, like through your difficulties, right? After a while, then you can remember them, even though when you are having a good time, sort of like then it's like, for instance, when you are having a very good meal, like a good food. So you can imagine of like other sentient beings as well. So you are having a good time, but still you can imagine of other. There are many sentient beings that are lack of that kind of opportunity. They do not have that kind of opportunity to enjoy a meal, right? So there are hell realm beings, animal realm beings, Holy Ghost realm beings. So there are obviously they have like difficulties of finding a food, right? Even in like a human realm. So you can imagine there are many people. They do not have that kind of opportunity to enjoy like a single food. So then, so if you do that, if you start from there, then you can transform every single moment into positive moments. So like, even though you are having a problem, even though you are having a good time, you can transform every moment into positive. So that is actually which is Samsambho. Samsambho means like a noble mind, right? Noble mind or kind mind or positive thoughts. Okay. So if you're able to keep your mind in like that kind of level all the time, like a noble mind, noble mind, that is real Dharma practice. So in general, we're thinking like Dharma practice has to be like you sit on a cushion in like an isolated place and do like reciting those kind of mantras. So we consider that is Dharma practice. If you have the noble mind or positive mind all the time, you don't need the separate kind of practice for Dharma. So that is actually Dharma practice. So that is the main point and the main essence of the Buddhist teaching and the Dharma practice. Trying to keep your mind positive attitude as much as you can, and also try to generate noble mind, sort of noble mind.
Dati tone kum tiche samta tani chujin lela zomar jas da chinje ani chujin ki lela zomar jegi insar je tamjarab tiche.
So then the text it says hereafter let's give with generous heart. So that is again like making a commitment, like making a promise. From now on, I will do that kind of positive deeds.
That means that the Nanamzubi Majunga then did Chijina Subet Najebala Subek, then never did join some touching, never did tone, touching, Jujin Lele, Dani is at the delay, Nagi never did tone, Dani Jujin Lele doing insert.
So in the text, Tibetan it says Tani. Tani here in this translation it says hereafter. So maybe now on, Tani. So up until now, so we have been doing the wrong way, sort of like wrong way. So now on, or hereafter, I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to do like a positive way.
Chujin said, Chujimba said, that Chujin said, Chidan, any Jimbay they are the Jimbamos, Diana, Jimbati, Diana, Jimbelam, Yamereva. Most of Diana, Dong Simpleya, the Mahoban, the Simjet Hamjig, Jibe, Jimba Jajim, Diagi, Pemba Daya. Yadi 동네 군야들이 동네 군야 어두수 때 집에 냠는 둘이야리 다때 지 아니 지 가리네 메도지 우조를 치워 메도를 지피기네 생제 빠비 메버도 수기 참전의 피부를 심제 라기 비지기 치도 멤버제 심제 빠비 메버디 심제 빠비 메버 강이 빠 나를 취대고 마겐 심제 세디 두수기 치도 아니 메도지 피부이네 두수기 치도 두수기 강에 탐대세야기 치도 아니 치버디 피부를 삼아지 메도지 피부이네들이 집에 냠는 거지. 아니 어디 피디 근데 상당구에서는 semjepato meva tu sugi chetu. Rang dandi chimbe chibata chuba pia meto pia kugab jung yari. Semjepato meva chile kugab chimbata ya ani meto pia ani kugab mathoba imbare. Chen kugab mathoba tu sugi chetu. Nge ani piwi sambaje. Tu sugi kange seave. Kange thaje seave chetu. Ani meto pi 어디 가래스니 처버 가래피네 어디 상당고 요리 저상 진배 냠내서야지 진배 냠내서야지 지다 진바 너 수단지 잠바 따야지 진버봐 뒤에 진바 따야지 심제 강님 빠드면부터 수비 강내서야게 저도 당기 상거죠 그래 삼루티 피에탄 버리지 뒤야 말이 삼루티 심제 빠드면버기 심제 빠드면버티 마게 심제 신이팅 number then magasm jesing dimba rala tingi jambe magasm jeset ati tusugi kange seya ge chi tangi yo sambare jere yana chimba jachi mure ati ti sam o chuba chine dimberta dani chiji lel jamba cha lel tungi seti ti 담제로데 제가 심지어 탐지기 강에서야 치도 랑 강에서 치도 말아버제 심지어 탐지기 강에서야 치도 다시 이제 아니 취진게를 중기 있어야
so when you make that kind of commitment, so now on I will do practice of generosity, right? Generosity. So then there are two ways of doing generosity practice. So I would say the physically and the mentally, right? Physically is like giving away material and stuff like that. So if you're capable of doing that, so you should go ahead and do this kind of practices. So just do that, give away. That is the. So then there's a mentally practice. So mentally practice is you can imagine of any offering. You can make it to. For instance, first. So practice of the dominant practice, okay, dominant practice, that is generosity practice. So that is actually mental kind of exercise, mental generous practice of generosity. So then so then also it's really important to keep in mind. So when you do like any practice, you should you should develop the mental kind of the practice of generosity. Okay, practice of generosity. So that is, for instance, if you have a chance, if you have an opportunity to offer a single flower to the Buddha, okay, to the Buddha, so at that moment you can imagine physically you are making an offering of flower, right? So mentally you can think there are many sentient beings, there are many sentient beings that do not have that kind of opportunity to make offering to you, to Buddha. So then I am doing this behalf of all the sentient beings. So whatever I have accumulated merits, I will dedicate for all the mother sentient beings. So we call it mother sentient beings. So since we call it a mother sentient beings, whatever you do like a dharma practice, the positive deeds, positive actions, we will always dedicate it for like a mother sentient beings. Mother sentient beings. So then even though you are making a single flower, offering of single flower, but that can be really big practice that can turn into like a really profound, really like vast practice. So if you think of like all the other many sentient beings, There are like, so in order to have a better life, so we need to do the practice of generosity and so on and so forth, right? So they do not have that kind of chance, that kind of opportunity. So then you are doing, you can be like the leader of them. You can doing this for behalf of all the sentient beings. You can think of that. That actually becomes really profound practice if you think of like a mother sentient being. As a Buddhist, we do have a terms or the like lines, a word. It's called a mother sentient being. So whatever you do, you should like think of them, all the mother sentient beings. Whatever you do, you should do behalf of all the mother sentient beings.
Yeah, that joy best.
Any questions?
Question about generosity is kind of a two-part question, maybe three. So, you know, as householders, we have responsibilities, things we have to take care of to maintain even the material conditions for practice. And we have to maintain our household with financial responsibilities, pay bills, or maybe we have families we need to give time to. So we want to be generous, and it feels good to be generous to as many people as we can, but sometimes maybe we have to use wisdom with our generosity. You know, because we can't give away so much that we can't take care of our own household, right? But so one part of the question is, should we always give, no matter what, if it's to somebody who has less than we do, should we always give? And then also sometimes it seems, you know, maybe giving somebody what they say they want or what they seem to need maybe isn't the best thing. Like if you see a drunk on the street who's begging for money, maybe to give them money isn't a benefit. That may make their situation worse. They may buy more liquor. So how do we measure our generosity versus miserliness?
Yes. También te dice que 때는 김바지 배차는 가 나올래가 망부요래 때는 망부 제오래 살아서 망부 제오와 다 망부 제오래 돼 기승 가지고 있다 진배 냠래 시도 좀 말이야 진배 냠래 다다 맞히는 시기에 막 아주 요즘 문제 다른 지역 칸이 숨쉬도 된대게 지역이다 된대 지역라 니네 pen jimba yin shinja la ya ya me kheba khemi dos pen na mi rap se jilanga khal de ya chikte ba na de khol pen tha ba se ne ge ne ga dos ne ge cha sa na zo jimba se na sena se jo jimba se sena se ni khande sin ya de yang ji so de khande sta wa ta ji de khande si ho re sena mai ba cha ba jimba cha wa ni khande ta ji si ho re
da ji nam ji da 체가 뭐지야르바 체가 뭐지야르 수수상무다도 체디디 가르데스 아니 아리나라 랑가야부 그때도 지 시부두가 랑가야부 시부두가 랑가야부야 딘데기 체디기 니 망부지가 팽도인기야 제선 체제도 좀 봐지 semje mambuchiliya phaya samdan jawre sti phangsim jen geju amare ti karesena semje mambuchil phingya res chedi susu mambu ni chile mene ti dong yindu samba chi semje mambuchil phaya ani ti tati ti semje ne te mi yo shos ti susu 다야디 심젤 펜바 자치미 용쇼 삼사전 당구야레스 지가는 저 체제 근데 당베이는 진배냥내 청결이 진봉이네 이리야레스 어디에서디 그런 되게 아니 진배냥내 캐시면 저우레스
That is what conversation number.
Okay,
so there are many like many lines, many question answers. I think Mr. First you say, you know, for instance, like as a householder, so then you need to pay tax to the government, right? To the government. So that is mandatory. So then again, you can pay tax while you are having a generosity mind. You say, because Then the tax, the tax you can earn for like there. If you look at this country and this America, we have really nice road, right? Actually, we have that nice road, like a very good road, because of the tax. The tax is actually using for those big building up like a nice road, right? You can earn for that too, like so because of your tax pay, right? Tax pay that actually helps to build like a nice road, So you can when you pay tax, you can imagine for a good and a purpose, something like a going towards like that kind of project, making like constructing a road, something like that. That kind of positive side, you can imagine that. So if you're able to do that, then actually that is real, actual generosity practice. You're giving away some extent of like a material, right? And also you're developing a generosity mind and generosity intention. So then that is actually becomes perfect generosity practice. Okay?
아니 아메리카 지 현다를 라마 붙이기도 라마 붙여야지 지 미마기 지 지야지 개샤버티 지기야르바 어디 산타 디 상조를 줘야 돼. 디 수수기 상단디 지 샹라네 심벨네 네트미야 쇼 삼바체 비치위지리니 디제니 아니 남다 마물로 로랑 mambachiduga atis karesen mimagichi di cheri pesati chigerba ariti ati mimane yongu yerba ati sam tenjetane chimba yares.
And also this country, America, actually helping to really poor country as well. They are sending funds to those poor country to help and to help them to stand on their, sort of leg or something, right? So it helping them to, have a better policy or situation in their country. They're sending out that money. That money actually came from the tax, so like you. So you're paying tax to this country, and the resource of that money is actually like you. So it is coming from your tax. So you can imagine that when you make a tax, for instance, you are applying, like paying tax, you can imagine for like a good purpose, something that's towards you just aim it for like a good, like result, sort of like result. You aim for like better situation. So mentally you just generate like positive thoughts. That is the offering. That is the generosity. Quran says this word, when it's nang let yowa. But two man got out say that's the one go out say when Quran is pure and yora. Quran pure and the Quran is pure and yora. Quran pure and Quran sang part is su pango chai so she wora.
저는 제자들이 지시했어요.
제자들.
아니 되게 지우라리스 수수기 전에 남대 나리아리스 수수르지 냐야지 현달에 다야지 디데야리스 수수용주는 메뉴를 지우라리스 수수용주는 뭐나 아니 디 지게 말이 수수용주는 메뉴를 지네 아니지 딜하마디 심부다는 디게야리스 야 지 가르쳐 그래 수수기 짐바다니 세네다는 내비지 딘데지 제비는 가르쳐 그래 동바상계기 부다와스니 제레 부다와스니 디 짐바단 버리 짐바단 개브루기 마루는 간가 땅빈브리다 농주 마무르 노버리 티나 개복 비브리 개복 비인주자 쿠란의 신들지 신대난 노르는지 제 쿠란 땅버리 쿠란제 아마디제 부니제 쿠란 아니 파피비 비니 알라갈 페트 잠바 신들 논이 중으로 신들 땅이사를 부니 논이 중으로 부니 땅버리 어떻게 땅버리디 shuma susule kebe mambu shibu chume yarba karasure dinde be chögi be samba namda ji ne chedele ji ran long ju kombu chune junga me dinde tanye de chedele ju kombu junga mare chechuma la tildan marba dinde tan ni ji na che ju de mambu junga yare
그 집에서 세나다 집안이 버르려야 타주를 간다 치고랬어. 세나 임바 멤버는 집안 임바 멤버는 타주를 간다 치고랬어. 세나.
다디 세나체디 랑기 롱줄에서 롱줄에서 시험에 동네 페베 아무도 짐바들라 세나시게 동네 버바 아무도 짐바들라 세나체 집어서야지 랑기 롱줄 시험에 동심들 짐바사한다
맞다. penetration 피겔라 코랑이 빼리 가리샤라는 피겔 라시지 투로 하게. 라시지 투로. 라시 딜라야 뭐 되는 묘도 도스. 라. 우마데는 집바다 이게 도스이 와라. 코데네 도스이 와. 아니. 그래서 세나 마이 바데 집바레가 세나 마이 디버 데게 내가 감서 세나다 집바니 타주 가르치 오래.
다티 랍시텔이야. karasur
tena nuge dusla
re
matana jimba ge dusla
te jimba tansa le te negu mamru yaris jimba tansa tamu su mabu shida yaris tile tane tong buba tong miriba yule tane tong miriba tile mabu yaris jasa dusul tanya tile tong miriba dusul tangi yamaris tong tile tane tong miriba mabu yaris nega tane tong jimba tansa tang shantrati kandachi ne tang shantrati yamari majanya chiriyaji tersuna nanti maraba lajinya tersuna dia maraba tu sedia marti gang cuma bayar sekian
so the what's the generosity, right? Generosity, practice of generosity. So the can 당부도 가질 수 있다. 당부도 제일 시행해. 당부도 가질 수 있는 당부도 can you let matter
jangan bisa cegah
let me say so you gave an example of the drunk the person, right? Let me say the practice with generosity, right? Practice with generosity, we have to be really skillful when we do this practice. So when we need to judge on the recipients. Okay, so it means like there are some restriction, like when it comes to the practice of generosity. So you need to determine, you need to check, is this like right time or not? It has to be right time, and also it has to be like so. And some practice of generosity, so like you so like kind of like prohibit, right? So like for like a temporary kind of reason, or like there are many reasons. Temporary reason, you cannot do this kind of you cannot do practice certain type of practice of generosity. You need to look like so look at the receiving like, and also giving away. Giving away is not like a practice of generosity. Giving away itself is not a practice of generosity. For instance, if you give like contribution, your contribution and help to like army, sort of like almost army to like army or like army use the army, right, for the battle, for war. They uses this kind of source for like buying weapons and so forth. That is actually harming to other sentient beings. This is not the right way of doing practice of generosity. You need to look for their time. It has to be right time. It has to be right material and right person. And also then then it becomes the practice of generosity. Okay, so you have to be really skillful. And Rinpoche said like something before that. So 당부터 가르쳐 되게 돼.
맞다. 가르쳐 봤단다.
단단히 니블이 라인이
이거 그래.
뒤다 내가 단 뒤다 이제 따따따따따 그래서 해줘. 이거에 직수서 어디 가래? 이거에 직수서
덤벌 세대를.
좀 봐래.
덤벌이.
오늘 다 웃어서 야 So yeah, practice of generosity, right? So we say like, so for instance, that if you see someone's really like really more like needs like help, someone needs really badly help, right? So in that situation, you have to be really careful in like learning, teaching, right? The pattern stages of teaching. In that teaching says, so they give you really skillful kind of like method to do the practice. It says like you can divide your position in like two parts. So one part you save it for your family and yourself, and one part you can dedicate it for like a general practice of generosity. So so you just keep the other one, you just use the other part of your wealth for like a generosity. And sometimes we have like more than what we need, right? What we need. So you can use that source for like a practice of generosity. So we need to undertake like consideration about your own family and your own wealth. We need to think of that as well, keep in mind. But sometimes there are practices, so very intense kind of practices. That is a different case. For instance, when you look at the story of Buddha, Buddha's lifetime, when he was a prince one time, then he gave away all of his father's wealth to like everybody. So then that father and the king after realized, and he thought like his son is going to give away wealth, and he will be really like powerless or something like that. And then that's why he kicked out his prince and his son, from the palace. Then he gave him like a chariot, like a horse kind of like cart, right? Then he on the way, there are like he encountered with like several people. They're asking each of his position. He give away everything. So this is really intense kind of practice. But then when you look at this kind of story, all of the result has like a positive. Never had like any negative result of what he done. So that is really intense kind of practice. But for as a beginner, and maybe it's not appropriate. So we have to be really careful with practice and generosity.
I've been studying this material, and it seems that the basis of the material has to do with attachment and self-cherishing, and cutting through attachment and self-cherishing. And my question is, in terms of like my own, say, like my health, and I think, I have to, be healthy in order to like survive. To me, there's like an element of self-cherishing in that, and that I don't want to be unhealthy, so I want good food, I want this, I want that. And then in terms of like, if you have children, I don't have children, but say if you have children, you say, my children, I want my children to go to the best school, I want my children to, or you have pets, I have pets. You always say, it's my pet, my animal, I love my animal. And the element of me, mine, my health, that's all self-cherishing, it's all attachment. And how do you balance the me and the mine? The me, and then also like think, always like try to think, well, I want everybody to be happy. I want all animals to be happy. You have to work on this. It's like a constant, I'm answering my own question. It's like swimming uphill. It's like swimming uphill. Where's the line? I guess that's what I'm asking. Where is the border between, when you're thinking, how do you,
balancing you and others, or
yeah, how do you go through life without
Having self-cherishing?
Yeah.
This is the definition daily. I think nyegi nga subu debo yungu ya kalaya ko sa nga subu debo yungu ya se jero tede rita ani nyegi semje nyegi pugu du subu ya go la pra ya go dang nyegi de jero tede ni manya di shimbe ki choso ya jero ta de chi de sa la ya ta pena ta de sa ma dang de la ya ta khatri ne tadena tuzor samade de udus khalo ranchinzi de udus sam ranchinzi level de udus reshas tade se zambal tade samashu tang de udus wa ta pe tuzu me sam tang de udus ta shin ta kram tiga ko de ranchinzi da pan mize de so zabulin din na lo la ya su su cho wa chi su su ki bu yun su su ya bu yun wa chi ka yun wa chi la ya 아니 라진지 메베 토니 체에 여러 배서 내가 그거 스피드가 내가 너무 많이 셔다 그러거든요 그런 게 내가 그런 게 지월 랭 그래서 그런 게 지월 그런 랭이 소리가 시에서 되게 뭐야
다 그랬지.
그래서 난 이제 되는 걸로 수수를 하고 용 수수 코를 하고 용어 강시시를 강시지 메베 토니 체에 한대요 그랬어
네. 다 대야지. 셴베기 삼백장장 케니스. 이제 그 제기나 안 기부 유기야래. 요야디 라니 인그리스. 셴베기 삼백 자치부 그제이네 디디기 지 레디 또 쳐야래. 아 레디 또 그제 치스니 페이지 라니 인그야래. 아 란주고 상무다 란기 아니 부부주로 상무단이 상부터 춘주예요. 춘주인들 좀 봐. 지 되게 상부디 또기 아무 배에야 돼 춘주지를 해야 돼. 상부 자친구들 땅에 있는 친구들 배에 친구 정말로 배에 친구 네가 있어야 돼. 뒤에서 상부 그때 배 시험비가 상비 자침부터 한 거야. 그때 아니 배우들 안에 우리 미슈신다 지금 야야 말이야. 뒤에서니 랑티지 뒤에서 상비 그때 자침부 뒤에 좀 그래. 상을 깨게 말시디 어찌들이 되게 야 랑치 그래서 랑진지 매버스 우리가 랑진지 슈팅도 매버 당연한 건데 랑진지 슈팅도 매버 미슈지기 랑진지 매버도 용말이에요. 이에서는 다 시비가 삼바디 케스 자침부지 그때 기브도 제리나 디기 라는 거야. 근데 랑진지 디데 슈팅 그래서
So let's just say the self-cherishing and other cherishing, right? Other cherishing. So having like thoughts or other cherishing is more benefit in terms of more benefit for yourself and more benefit for others. In general, So then. So whatever you have happiness and everything is actually came from the other cherishing. So then, so if you do like other cherishing kind of thoughts all the time, right? So that actually helps you. So it brings benefit for you. So if you think of like yourself and your family, this is really limited. So even though you may have like a positive intention, positive thoughts at the moment, this is really limited, so like it covers really limited kind of sentient beings. So instead of thinking of yourself and your family, you think of like entire sentient beings. So imagine, if you do like a positive actions, so how much you can create like a positive karma. So then, so we believe like whatever we accumulate, whatever we have experience, good experience, positive experience, actually these experiences can form positive karma. So then, if you think of like yourself and your, even though you have with your positive intention, think of yourself and your family, that is good way to do, but it creates really limited kind of positive karma. So then that positive karma brings really limited result. So if you make it broader, like a wider, think of like other sentient beings, all of the other sentient beings, mother sentient beings, then that actually intention creates a better, more karma. So then brings like, benefit for yourself. Actually, whatever you have accumulated your good karma, so you are the only one who's going to experience it. So the more you have created good karma, so then you have like a better, and you have a little bit more happier. And for instance, for us as as an ordinary person, so it's really difficult to eliminate the self-cherishing from the root at this moment. So at least we can minimize, we can reduce the intensity of the self-cherishing at least. That way it helps us to be like a better person and more happier. Yeah.
When we offer a single flower to a Buddha and we offer the virtue for all sentient beings, do we imagine all sentient beings offering a flower to a Buddha? And in what form are they?
Okay, yeah. This is Tanisha Dagi Medoji Conjula Pus, Sangala Pus Lava, Sangala Pus is on the Pepper de Mabaches, Semja Tanjiki Pus, Semja Tanjaka de Yomare, or Sister Lava. That is Somalia, Rangi di Pus of Medoji Pus and Maladina, she Semja Tamjagi and Methodist Pus of Mabache West. Kizzy didn't Mabache Wuna, Semja Tamji, Semja Kambani, and Karigimo of Towers.
어떻게 나라들 차체들 지기와 차체들 랑이 주파도 메버들 랑이 커도 신대 파도 메버디 나이 메버제 차체 차인부 체야 메버지게 여러분 디마시메도 표주들 면제 표주들이 신대 파도 메버디 나로 르파도 메버드니 메도피아 디나시 신제 칸제기 지 메토피아 딘지 메바제나 랑기 표변하시 딘지 메바제네 아니 시타기 야부야리 슈바피티 딘레리 메레피티 딘레리
So yeah, Rinpoche said, so you can expand or extend your visualization as much as you want. So for instance, when we do the prostration, right, practice of prostration, so we imagine ourselves as limitless. So we image ourselves, identify for yourself in like a limitless, numberless of them, and we do prostration at the same time with your numberless of your body. Right? Similar like that, when you make an offering of flower, so you can imagine you can image like numberless of yourself, and make at the same time you are making a flower offering to the Buddha. And also you can imagine all the sentient beings are actually joined with you like in that kind of like ceremony, wherever that you're doing like at the moment practice, and imagine they are doing the same thing whatever you're doing. And also they are, by doing that, result that they can generate positive karma. You can imagine that. You can apply this kind of idea or practice to any dharma practices.
나한테 미나버제 제 미나버제 제는 디아레스 가르센스 이제 빠트네 봐야지 두수기 미데만 미교네 만유야 말이 자산 메도 피드장 랑기 메도 피드 메버제 두수 메버제 미나버제 아니 메도 피아 상단 레스 나버제 따뜻해 지 나한테 되어 있는 나기는 주가 필요점바 라지 가리 이름 가리네 디야 필요 주가 필요점바 선제도수 이름 뒤에 딘적이 남바진 필요리 단다 탐미 버제비나 랑이나 버진 진 필요여봐 어디 나도 만드는 아니 니 남바진 진 필요리스.
So and like as a ordinary person, right? Ordinary person, you can imagine every sentient being of like a human being, okay, in the form of a human being. But that is not a false idea. That's not a wrong imagination. We can imagine of like all the sentient beings. They have been taking human rebirth like one or the other time. So that's why it's appropriate imagining them as a human being, or a human form. They already have been taking that kind of form. So then when we do practice, so you imagine all the sentient beings like a human form, Okay, so that is so similar like you. So you can imagine all of them as human being. If you are doing this practice, the incorporate with tantric practice. So then, so in the offering section, it says, so what,
좀 말을 지켜이나.
on the offering section, right? So when you make an offering, so you need to transform every single thing into divine nature. So it means like, so every sentient being, you need to imagine every sentient being, when you are making an offering, every sentient being has to be this particular deity form. For instance, if you are doing the Vajrayogini practice, so when you do the practice, you should imagine all the sentient being as Vajrayogini, in the Vajrayogini form.
Yeah.
I'm just listening, and I know that we're ordinary sentient beings, and that we can have these visualizations and improve our mind as an ordinary sentient being. What if your heart is really touched and you want to do more material offerings, and then as a result of that, you want to open that up to other beings to have them also have the opportunity to help you, to help others. I see that's what's happening with me now, and it's kind of getting carried away. So I'm not sure how you balance it. I mean, it's like a very good cause, and I want to help people bring clean water to their communities. And my friend just said to me, "You're going overboard." So it's I'm finding it really challenging.
Yes. This is gonna chachata den bana takhala jimbar ko ya dus gom che khazam chini ta su gi nyabar ba jini je ta ngi che tu sa samsa ro gi ni nyabar ni ya cham chli gi ro asa le koram de chwa chung sung sa ta ha che je ni le ya ta le ro ba ro che bana che ro koram zu bi le ne gi le ya chutang ma ki ni ya ge ta chi yoro chutang ma so ya ta chi che ta koram de chomo ji 그런 다음에 셀에게 시기도스 내는 라그도스 시기도스 그래서 이제 야타페나 샤샤네 간데스 티워스 말하다 그냥 라비스 소리지 다디 간데스 디치오레스 왔다 간데스 냐고 딱 what balance do you say, like how do you keep your balance, right? Balance between what, like
yeah, well the balance is like I know like this is coming from my heart and my giving.
Okay.
But now like I'm wanting to open that up and would like other people to help also in this project to bring clean water. People need it. And then it feels like maybe that's not where I'm supposed to go. I'm just supposed to give myself and just let it go there.
Or are you getting pressure from others to only have it be yourself? Are others feeling threatened by your...
Well, I just think that there's so many things in this world, and everybody, has their favorite charity, or everybody is giving. We're all giving in some way, and maybe I just should keep it as a personal matter and not try to, educate other people to this need. You know what I mean? It's like a conflict now.
This is 그런 것들 냠내라고 지어봐. 냠내셔서 쌤 나오다 쉬운 쉬고 삼제 베스트 로드 쉬운 쉽게 지어봐. 다들 지도나고 제가 모두 전부야. 다 군이 버려야 지 나야지 여러 앞에서는 피치. 또 뭐라도 스타일로 이제 티 유저라 되는 아마 이제 스타일로 티 유저라. 디셔가 간데스 디버로야 간데스 지치오래 나오다. 수수쌤가 사람나 지금 제반이 되게 딱 그래요.
이제 로또 때 냠바 마냠바치 con completare di chimboles l'otto decine peggi certela kugabim tu chimboles kugamen gacha tu tamba chiguya mares.
So let say so that kind of intention, helping to other, so it should be there all the time. So you should not try to minimize or try to stop having that kind of thoughts. So you should be there. But when you help actually physical, sort of like physical, then you need to look and like you have to be really skillful on that part. You need to look, is this like a right time or not? Sometimes there are many obstacles, and even though you may think like a really good thing, you have like a really good intention, when you try to do it in that way, so it's really difficult to work on like what you aim for, what you think for, something like that. So that's why we need to look at that field. Then so we need to judge, is this the right time or not? So if you think this is not appropriate time, you should just stay away. So you should not like pursue whatever you are thinking in your mind. So you should stay aware of it.
Yeah, right. Shit.